Can we everyone?
Yes. दो मिनट पहले मैसेज आया आपके पास भी आया होगा
Maitreji, we can start.
Yes, a very good evening and a warm welcome to all our participants from Goel Brothers Prakashan and Bright Tutee. We'll wait for another 5 minutes to begin the webinar. A very good evening and a warm welcome to all our participants to this webinar on National Education Policy, Series 1. We have with us Ms. Jyoti Swaroop. I'm sure all of you are aware of her. You've attended many of our webinars that we've done, and I'm sure you're looking forward to this one too. Ms. Jyoti Swaroop is a freelance author, a consulting editor. She has a vast experience of over 40 years or more in the field of education as a teacher and an education consultant. She's an ELT expert, and today's webinar on national education policy is for our teachers of pre-primary and up to the second standard. We are going to have more of NEP webinars, but this is to begin with. We are waiting for a few more participants to join us, so we'll begin at 4:05. Kindly bear with us. Thank you. Goel Brothers Prakashan and Bright Tutee would also like to thank all our participants who are with us on our YouTube channel, on the Bright Tutee YouTube channel. Thank you for being with us, and we are now about to begin the session. Ma'am, we can start now.
Yeah, can we start? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes ma'am, you're audible.
I'm audible. Right. So welcome everyone. My name is Jyoti Swaroop, and I'm talking to you all from Chennai. I live in Chennai, and I can see as I was reading the text as you were typing in. So you are here from Nagaland and Patna, Bihar, and Punjab, and I don't know which other states. Right. So let me just give you an idea of how we will be going through this next hour and a half. I will just take the first 5 minutes just to talk, just to give us a vague a brief overview about NEP and ECCE. And then I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to participate in chat. I'm going to ask you a question, and I would like you all to respond to that question. And I'm going to then play you my PPT, which I'm sure Goel Brothers will forward to you. You can take snapshots of it. So whatever we are speaking is going to be captured in the PPT. And there are some other slides, and there's a lovely poem that we will come to at the end. Right, so let me just start off with a first opening remarks, as I call it. I think by now, all of us have some idea about the NEP. The NEP in the first place stands for the New Education Policy. It is a vision statement, right? So let's not be in a hurry and wonder what's going to happen and what about this and what about that. It's a vision statement. It is an idea. It is a plan. It is a policy. It is a policy, and it hasn't as yet come to law. Most of it will come through. Some of it, education, as you all know, is also comes under the states list. Some of the states will decide which parts they want and which they will not. There would be debates, there will be discussions. Just the other day, I read that the opinion of teachers was called for. So teachers like us can write to them and give our opinion. But right now, it is in a policy stage. It's a vision statement. It is how they would like things to be, right? And in about by 2040, they want to see most of these ideas put to plan. I'm not going to give you my opinion about it, apart from telling you that the whole idea is great. It's time we moved on to things like this. There are some parts of it which puzzles me a little and I'm afraid of, which of course we'll need to go by what the majority wants. Right. So let us start with ECCE. NEP, as we all know, we've said it is the New Education Policy of 2020. And ECCE is, I'm sure you all know, but let me just do a recap for you. ECCE stands for Early Education Care, Early Childhood Care and Education. Early Childhood Care and Education. So they're looking at early childhood as a stage where it requires care. At the very outset, let me tell you, I see a lot of policy, a lot of information on the internet or from the NEP about the early childhood bit, but there isn't much on the care bit, right? But if we follow the curriculum, I guess it covers the care. So you all know that ECCE starts with, you know the breakup, it is 5334. I guess you all know these numbers, 5334. 5, of course, stands for ECCE. When we say 5, we are talking about LKG, UKG, and before that maybe pre-KG in terms of the private schools, right? So we have pre-KG in some schools, and then we have LKG, and then we have UKG, and then we have class 1 and 2. So now these 5 years these 5 years come under the ECCE. Class 1 and 2 is also considered early childhood because till the age of 7 and 8. Now, why 7 and 8? Now, this is very important. I hope we are paying attention. Why 7 and 8 is because 85%, right? Really, this is the truth. 85% of a child's brain realizes a child realizes 85% of its potential. So that's a very crucial point that we need to keep in mind. I'm glad that Goel Brothers has thought of it, not NEP as a whole, but is dedicating an entire webinar to ECCE, because these 5 years in school. So we're presuming that a child is 2.5 when they come to school. And we know also in private schools, my own grandson went to school when he was 1.5 years. आजकल तो बच्चे घर में बैठते हैं and it's very difficult to keep them at home. तो आसपास में कुछ ना स्कूल में we send them. So preschool, play school जाते हैं. So we have play school and then we have preschool. And there is also this mom and I kind of a school going on also. So most of our kids, I know my grandson has gone to a play school, a preschool, an LKG and UKG. So he is now in UKG and he has already been in school for 3 years and this is his 4th year, right? And then there is class 1 and 2. So ECC, why has the government said 5 plus 3? 5 because, Maitreyi, there are some people saying, oh, I'm not too audible, but I'm sure they need to check.
No, ma'am, you're audible. They'll have to check their audio. Jitin, if you
Okay.
could tell them if there's something that they have to do.
Yeah, I'll write that in message.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You can continue, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah.
It's clear.
ठीक है. So why has the government put down 5 as a special category is because earlier we have now 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2 is class from 1 to 10 and the plus 2 is of course 11 and 12. So though we have KGs in our school, though we have kindergarten and we have a big wing in our school, officially it is not considered a part of the school. It was looked upon as a feeder to the main school, right? So because of course schools make money and we need to send our children and we need to get used to a certain kind of school, it's good for us to send a child to play school, preschool, LKG and UKG क्योंकि transition वहाँ से बहुत easy होता है, admission के लिए भी और school का culture के लिए भी, right? So we have now officially school is 10 plus 2. KG is not really recognized, but our children, that becomes a feeder. But now the government has realized the importance of play schools, the importance of these, the KG, and they are making the KG and the preschool a part of the government curriculum. Now that is the big difference. So we have KGs. So what did the government have till now? The government had, you must have heard of Balwadis or Anganwadis, right? Balwadis and Anganwadis are these places where mainly children of the lower or middle class went there, the lower classes went there. And these were really not schools, वो तो कुछ तो पढ़ाई वहाँ चलता है, but mainly these were used as centers for health and nutrition for children of the, let's say for the underprivileged children. So we still have the Balwadis and the Anganwadis. But now we are not, when we say schools, we're not talking about just the schools that you and I go to, right? We're not talking about the private schools. When we say schools, we're talking about the entire universal of schools. We are talking about the government schools, all the schools. So there are 2 important things I hope you can note here. One is we have the entire universe of schools, which is, let's say, government schools and private schools. So हमारे समझ में ये है, we think that there are more government schools than private schools. Yes, there are more government schools than private schools. But this is a surprise that 50% of the country's children go to private schools. So more and more you have children from the lower class, the lower middle class, and even from the low class being very aspirational. And that's wonderful. I mean, it is left to each one of us to decide what kind of school we want to send our children to. So that is the main crux of the 5. The government wants to bring the private schools. And if you take even the play schools, we have so many kind of brands that go on. There is Kidsy and there is Kangaroo Kids and Ye Kids and those kids and there is IB. So there is no common curriculum. There is nothing common happening. Recently, I remember reading the government wanted to check on the play schools. They wanted to know what's going on there, right? So this is an attempt not to take over these schools, but to also monitor them and make sure that everyone is giving the basic, right? So I hope we've settled that. So the 5 now is early childhood. And I said why this early childhood is important, because, when we talk of foundation stage, the first 7 years, educators, the first 7 years is crucial. It's like जब हम building बनाते हैं, वो जो foundation that we lay, वो foundation ठीक नहीं तो the whole building will collapse, right? And that's the most important aspect. And I'm truly grateful that Goel is focusing on just this aspect. So I think we've just established 2 facts. We know that there are Anganwadis now, 3 years of KG, and class 1 and 2 is coming under the first, it comes under the early childhood care education, which we will refer to now as ECCE. A couple of other things that when we talk of curriculum, So I will open up the PowerPoint in a while. When we talk of curriculum, up to class 1 and 2, the curriculum, the focus is a lot on fluency and numeracy, literacy and numeracy. When we talk of literacy, we are not talking only of the alphabet, learning R, I, E, E, or learning A to Z. We are talking about being able to read. So there are two terms that the NEP is using, FLN. So you come across FLN. When you come across FLN, you're talking about the foundational literacy and numeracy. We're talking of the foundation of literacy and numeracy. So it's not just numbers. It's not just saying 1 to 100. It is not just saying I can count till 1,000. But it is also talking about counting and having a logical mathematical sense. When we talk of literacy, we are talking about learning the alphabets, yes, but also being able to read words. And they also talk of something called ORF. All these will come up in the slides. They talk something about ORF, which is oral reading fluency, right? Another thing, I think all of us are quite aware of what's happening in the country. Kids get promoted year by year. In Tamil Nadu, where I live in, suddenly the government came up with this idea that class 5 or 8 mein exam leni hai, board exam. And there was a big furor. Not that people minded the exam, but these guys just announced it aise hi without any warning. Right? So that became scary. So what happens when it comes to exams? There is fear, children go to tuition classes, marpeet hoti hai ghar mein. So all this kind of nonsense happens. So instead of just bringing an exam from class 5 to 8 as it is without any kind of rhyme or reason, now the government has already announced there will be exams in class 3, 5, and 8. 3, 5, 8. So let's forget about the 5 and 8. Class 3 ka exam is quite important because we have to make sure that the kids are prepared and trained. They have the correct amount of foundation, literacy, numeracy, and there's going to be a lot of emphasis on 21st century skills, on socio and emotional development. So these kind of things are also going to be very crucial. Again, as I said, wo slides may I have captured it all. I'm just giving you an overview. So 21st century skills, it's going to play a very important part. We already know what they are. I think all of you have done workshops on that, attended. We're talking about communication skill, collaboration, creative thinking, critical thinking, so many more. I will just put them up in a slide for you all to remember. Now, these 21st century skills, we don't need to wait till class 10 or 11 or 12. We start these skills right from year 1 when the child enters the school. So the child is in the school for 5 years, play school, preschool, LKG, UKG 1 and 2. So how much of reading and counting numbers will they do, right? So don't worry about portion kya cover karna hai yahan. There are a lot of focus on so many other activities, which leads me to the next point. There is not going to be a hard separation. Hard separation means one group to another, one skill to another. There are not going to be any much differentiation between subjects, or there's no going to be words like co-curricular, extracurricular, right? So when I was in school, we called it extracurricular. And by the time you guys came to school, we called it co-curricular. Ab sab curricular hota hai. So everything is going to be curricular. CBSE is already into integrated, art integrated, competency based, and there's so much activity based, value based. There's so much that the CBSE is already doing, and all the other boards. So curriculum wise for ECCE, literacy and numeracy is the main thing. Children should be able to read, speak, write, right? I have gone to schools where even class 5, I ask children to read. They read few lines, but when I ask them ki iska matlab kya hai, they say, ma'am, nahi malum. I said, you read it just now. So they said, ma'am, hum pad sakte hain, but samajh nahi sakte. Right? Do you understand that? It's such a terrible thing. So children are not reading, they're actually decoding. They're decoding. We start with CAT, CAD, MAT, MAT, RAT, RAT. Yeah, you know, wo memory mein it becomes like a visual, and they are really not reading. Okay. So to avoid all this, to circumvent all this, they are giving children so much time, 5 years, to be very strong in literacy and numeracy. So when all this happens, of course, we talk of training. There is, I'm sure you're all aware of Diksha. Diksha stands for Digital Infrastructure for Knowledge and Sharing. There is Diksha site is on the internet. There's going to be training. There's going to be training. And for the KG, it probably applies more to the government schools than to private schools. I won't go into the training because they are saying a 6-month certification if you are a 10+2 student. Hamare private schools mein to we don't take anyone who's less than a graduate, right? So 10+2, and if you don't even have 10+2, they say that you are going to be given a 1-year training. So this is more applicable to the government schools, right? So let's look at what is relevant to private schools, because most of us are like that. So I'm sure you guys have heard of the RET. I'm just going to take a couple of, speak a few lines, and then I'm going to throw open a question to you. You must have heard of RTE, right? The right to education. So, and the right to education now starts from age 3. From 3 to 18, they are insisting on the right to education, which means a child can go to any school, and the quota system, I'm sure, will kick in. The focus for curriculum is going to be, as I said, the main important thing is we just need to remember these words, these anagrams. FLN, which is Foundation of Literacy and Numeracy. It's easy to NEP, National Education Policy, ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, FLN, Foundation of Literacy and Numeracy, ORF, Oral Reading Fluency. So this is really the crux of all this. Now, apart from FLN, there's going to be a lot of focus on physical and motor development, cognitive, which is learning, cultural and artistic, language, literacy, and numeracy. When it comes to language, I think there is quite a little bit of confusion, not confusion, that raised a lot of issues about language. It says that up to grade 5, language must be in the regional and home language. They said must, and then now it is wherever it is possible, wherever it is possible. Now, I'm sure this is one area that I'm sure hamare bacche, we would definitely like them to go to English medium schools. But I do believe, as a linguistic, as an ELT specialist, Maitreyi said I'm an ELT specialist, but that's the truth, that children learn very well in their own mother tongue. There is no gainsaying that, because it is wired in our DNA. It's wired in our DNA. But the point is, you must be exposed to that language, right? So my mother tongue is Telugu. I don't live in AP or Telangana. My mother tongue is Telugu. My early childhood was in Kanpur. I live in Chennai, where we speak Tamil. And so when I'm exposed to so many languages, my home language becomes English. So the language I'm most comfortable with is English, right? So I definitely would be most comfortable studying in an English medium school. And AP, for example, is very clear that they have said all their classes will be only English medium. Tamil Nadu, as you know, has said no 3-language policy. So these are also political things. So let's keep out of all that. But I'm sure that, you know, as far as language is concerned, the government is not saying that your children will have to study in the local medium. No, they're saying wherever possible, wherever possible. And look at the aspiration of the country. 50% of the children, 50% of India's children go to private schools. And that's a big number, right? So this is roughly, an overview of ECCE. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm just going to look at chat. I've been following you all in chat. So apart from your introducing yourself, there have been a few responses. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. When we talk of early childhood, let's look at it as from 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, ECCE stage. What should we focus on? What do you think we should focus on at the foundation level? What foundation do you want to give your children? So can you type it out, please? I'm waiting for your responses. Behavior, yes, you have started. Motor skills, overall development, overall morality, yes, Meenakshi Mishra. Skill development, cognitive development, interest, they should be free to learn, play way, lovely. Please go on. Critical thinking, basic knowledge, comprehension, manners, holistic, yes, good. Basic knowledge, yes, basic knowledge, basic comprehension, emotions, values. I'm just reading, this is going very fast. Adaptability, emotional management, listening skills, social skill, FLN is included, good, I'm glad you caught that. More interaction with students, absolutely non-negotiable, till 12 standard, competency, physical and mental, manners, basic knowledge. I'm coming back to holistic, like we'll define holistic after we finish this. Good manners, hygiene, very important these days in the time of COVID. Sustainability towards environment, oh, I love that, very good. Yes, freedom to choose, interpersonal and intrapersonal, how to speak, good manners, empathy, Harsha, very good, yes, empathy. Empathy is one of the most important things. Social skills, reading, Jennifer, yes, character formation, bonding with other children, yes, Subhashri, yes, courtesy, basic courtesy, language skills. Wow, spirituality, I love that, Seema Bhatia, spirituality, very important. Cognitive development, personality development, empathy, generosity, motor movements, sensory, environmental processes, yes. Originality, lovely, yes, originality. I hope you're all aesthetic, Rajiv, yes, aesthetic. Individual development, ethical values, music and movement. I love that, Geeta Chandan, music and movement, very important. Lovely. I love music and important. Give me a chance, I'll be dancing to Bala. Hobby development, basic communication skill, gratitude. I love that. Someone said gratitude. I hope you're all reading what everyone is. It's going very fast. Is there some way this is safe that they can read it, Maitri?
Yeah, we can save it and send it to them later.
Yeah, okay. The fantastic universal brotherhood. This is very total physical response. Wow. Recreational activities. How to sit. Rekha, that's so important. How to sit, I guess that's very crucial. Listening, practical knowledge. Global citizenship. Yes, I love that, Preeti. Grooming up, oh, that's fantastic. You guys, you know it all. I don't think we really need to go ahead with this workshop anymore. Right. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So I'll just get the PowerPoint of mindfulness. I love that. Shruti, I love that. Patriotism, yes, patriotism. Let's not mix patriotism and nationalism, Sonia. Can we get the PowerPoint in the meantime, Jitin? Respect for one and all. Reflection, very good, very nice responses. Yeah, so we are just getting the PowerPoint. I'm reading your responses as you send it. Right, so I'm going to share this PowerPoint and you can, Goel brothers can send it to you. You can also take, I always take photos so that I don't miss it out. I just want to go back to that holistic that many of you put down, play learning method. Yes, Murtaza, play learning method. It has to be play. It has to be even, I'm attending an international workshop on, and even for me, it has to be play. Problem solving, right. Guys, thank you very much. Now let's go back to class. So holistic, wholesome, of course, it's everything that you have given me, right? All that you have given me is holistic. You have given me such wonderful acceptability. I love that, Dakshayani. Acceptability. So let's just get on with this now. Holistic, as we all know, is wholesome. It's not just subjects. It's not just the marks. And we've gone past that. Our children are prepared. If you notice what's happening in the country, they're prepared to wait for NEET and JEE, right? That can wait. Even NEET can wait. Even JEE can wait. Life skills that we need now are more important. So one of the things that let's go, we've done this stage. We've talked about the foundation stage 5. One of the words I do not like in the NEP is the word, they consider the foundation stage as a preparatory stage. They use the word preparatory. I don't like the word preparatory. It's like we're preparing the children for something. So aaj se jab bacha school jayega, the mother and father are preparing him for NEET and JEE maybe. So that's a terrible, I would prefer to call it preschool or early childhood, call it the early childhood and rather than call it preparatory. Because ab se shuru karenge ye preparation kiske liye? We are not living for tomorrow. We are living for now. We are living for now. So I hate that word preparatory school. I wish the government would remove that phrase preparatory and call it preschool or call it ECCE, early childhood. So the 5 is the stage that we are going to discuss now. 3 is the preparatory stage of class 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5. Middle school is 6, 7, and 8. And of course, 9, 10, 11, 12 comes under the secondary stage. Can we go to the next slide, please, Jitin?
Yeah, just a second, ma'am.
Sure. Right. So this again, if you can see the slide, on the left is the 10 plus 2, and on the right is the 5 plus 3 plus 3. If you can see, one sec, yeah. So if you can see at the foundational stage is what they're calling a multi-level stage. Can you just take it up? Is that possible? Okay, so yeah. Foundation stage is a multi-level stage. What else is there? The chat is, right, play activity and activity-based learning. That's the stage we are going to deal with today. The preparatory stage, that is class 3, 4, and 5, play, discovery, activity-based. If you look everywhere, it's only from class 6 upwards, they even start talking about subjects, science and maths and social sciences and humanities, till class 5. Class 5 subjects to shuru hoga. In ECCE stage, the focus is only math and language, math and languages. I personally feel that jitna language bache seekhenge to seekhne do. They can learn. Children can learn as many languages. At one point of my time, I could speak 5 languages, including English, right? I could speak my mother tongue, Hindi, because I was in UP, Telugu, my mother tongue. I had Bengali friends. I spoke Bengali and I spoke English. And then jhat se we forget when we don't practice. So if this 3-language policy, whatever policy, I am fine with it. So the focus in ECCE is going to be math, languages, English, and of course the others, the other second language and third language, if it is there. Middle school, you can say sciences and the other. This is just a slide for you for your information. I'm not going to go into it because we are focused. Next slide, please, Jitin. Right, this is a very important slide. I'd really like you to look at it. It's a very important slide. This is, at a glance, it tells you what ECCE is about, right? I'm starting from the bottom left. You have the right brain and the left brain. So the focus, this is your curriculum. This is the curriculum for ECCE. This is what we are going to focus on. Those of you who teach the ECCE. So colors, shapes, alphabet, numbers, right? So it's not just alphabet and numbers. It has to go beyond that as you go to the other classes. From alphabets, you go on to reading words, and then you go on to reading fluency. Numbers, it's not just learning numbers 1 to 100. And it's also counting and knowing the value. In a way, you're starting with financial literacy here. It's not just literacy, but also financial literacy. Relationship with nature, art and craft, logical and thinking, problem solving, developing curiosity. All these are on this side. Right brain, you can see I'm coming from top. Teamwork and collaboration, play-based and discovery-based learning, ethics, self-identity, etiquette, behavior, and emotional development, right? So I think we've covered all that you said, all the points which are here when we had our introductory interaction. You guys gave me all these points. So I was telling you how important FLN is covered there. And then I was telling you about emotional behavior and social. Social, of course, comes in teamwork, collaboration, playing together. So it covers that. So this is a very important slide. It's self-explanatory. There's nothing to explain here. So save this slide. This at a glance is what ECCE is. Next slide, please. Right, we're talking of 21st century skills. We were talking about 21st century skills. This is how the NEP has categorized it, and I think it's done very well. You have foundation literacies, competencies, and character qualities. This is, of course, for not just for ECCE, this is for the entire NEP, for the entire school, but all this can start from the ECCE. All this can start. This is also a very important slide. You know, a lot of these slides which I'm using are what friends have used, other, you know, resource people have used, and we share them. We share them. I pass this on to other colleagues. So sharing, collaborating is the best way to work. So if you can look at the foundational skills, we've talked enough of literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy. When we say scientific literacy, it's not just science. It could be the basics of EVS, right? It could be the basics of EVS, my neighborhood, my surroundings, my family. These kind of things come under scientific literacy. EVS already in CBSE schools, only 2 subjects. Many schools create their own material for science. ICT literacy, slowly, I think even from class UKG, kids are going to the lab. Technology is a big thing, right? I am 65 and I've just got used to webinars after the COVID, but I've just picked it up and kids pick it up even better. Financial literacy, I talked to you about financial literacy. Even class 1, even a KG kid must be able to, iska daan kitna hai, why should I spend, mujhe ye chahiye, mujhe wo chahiye, you cannot buy this now. So that responsibility all comes in. Cultural and civic, I think all these words are pretty self-explanatory. Competencies, critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, collaboration. We've come across enough of these. I've also done a CBE, a competency-based webinar for GOIL. I don't know if you were a part of that. And we put down a lot more competencies. The importance of competencies. I hope I'm not talking, but this is one of those webinars where we really need to, it has to be an information download. If it was an interactive workshop, I'd probably be playing games, but aapko sunne padega thoda sa lecture yahan se. So critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, you can't teach them as they are. Ye sab jab hum subjects mein karte hain. You know, when children are playing, communicating, working together, solving their problem. Ma'am, ye nahi chal raha hai. Ma'am, ye kya karu? Ma'am, ye maar raha hai. Ma'am, ye. So you tell the children, you solve your own problems. Aap bataiye kya karenge? Aap bataiye kya karenge? Mujhe aap bataiye ki kya karna hai? So when children come to you with questions, ki kya karna hai? Ki ye kaise karenge? You tell them to come out so you can develop this competencies in so many ways right from there. Students can learn, someone is saying, Murtaza, through pictures, so maths. Yes, of course, of course. Yes. Okay, let's go to the character qualities. Trial and error, Anita says, yes, there's so much that kids can learn. We're not really going into too much into the pedagogy, but I hope we can. Look at the character traits. I'm so happy that they have put down character traits: curiosity, initiative, persistence, grit, adaptability, leadership, social and cultural awareness. You know, if I were teaching 11th and 12th, I would be discussing Sushant Singh Rajput case. Not the nonsense which is going on TV. Half the country has decided Ria has to be in jail. Half the country has decided ye wo. I mean, the television has no right to be judge, jury, and the hangman, right? But we should be discussing these things. So, itna problem kya tha that led Sushant to this? The vulnerability. We are not going to gossip about Sushant, but we need children to use these as examples. How, and don't talk about be good, avoid evil. Moral science class mein lecture dete hai, Ramayana, Mahabharat, Bible se, Quran se. But teachers, you talk about real life situation. You talk about values. You talk about what Bible said. You talk about what Ramayana said. You talk about Quran mein jo 11th, 12th. You discuss Sushant Singh case, taking away all the nonsense of it. That would really be empowering them with competencies. Let them question, let them ask, let them, yes, learning through real life situations. That is what competencies are for. KG mein lijiye, we were Thirsty Crow story. Once upon a time, a crow was thirsty. Bache will only learn maga. But once upon a time, a crow was thirsty. He drank water and he flew away and felt very happy. Actually, that story is for critical thinking, creative thinking, self-awareness, problem solving. So let's look at ways we can link it up. So this is also a wonderful slide. So this is the focus for NEP, particularly ECCE is very important because we are laying the foundation. Ye foundation hum KG se nahi kiye to you can't do it in other classes, right? It should start from here. Can I have the next slide, please? Right. You all know Bloom's taxonomy. I'm not going to go through it. You know Bloom's taxonomy, how we start from remembering, understanding. Any information we teach, what is the capital, what is this and what is that and when was this? These are all bekar miscellaneous information, which is really, and one of the wonderful things NEP has done is content they have cut. But I hope they really do. What's happening in the 12th, Apka 12th ko kya ho raha hai? They have cut 30%, but many concepts they have cut, I believe, which are relevant. So, you know, you should really cut content and focus on context. So, you know, Bloom's taxonomy. I'm just leaving you the slide because it's great learning. So you take your children from remembering, they have to understand, they have to apply what they're learning, they have to analyze, they have to evaluate, they have to create. So if you take the Thirsty Crow story, I would ask my children, now you create a story, you are in a situation, what would you do? Or give them a situation and what will you do? If you're talking about Red Riding Hood or whatever other stories, a Tenali Rama story or Akbar Birbal story, what would you do? How would you have dealt with this, right? You know, so use this slide. These slides are important. I'm not going to explain them. If you read them, it's quite self-explanatory, but I wanted to give this to you as information. Next slide, please. Far away from emotions and accept reality. Yes, Sundari Bala, very important. Accept reality, the repetitive context across has, yeah. All right, now I'm also reading your Shruti. I'm just reading what you have just written. Just at a glance to give you current system, new draft system. Ye draft policy hai. Abhi, they have vetted the draft. A good part of it will go in as a law, but the basic differences. So left were current system. RTE covers from class 1 to 8, but now RTE covers right from class 3 to from age 3 to 12. which means right from the time the entry level till you leave, RTE. RTE kya hai? Right to education. Ki children can go to private schools even if they can't pay that much of fee, and it is their right, and uska to quota hai. Not hiding reality. Yes, someone has just said not hiding reality. You have to face. See, ये ECC stage में क्या होता है कि we protect our children too much. Oh, बच्चा गिर गया. Oh, ये. I don't know how it was in your generation. I am looking at some of you, and most of you look very young. My generation, we all used to be hanging in from the trees. हमारा बड़ा compound था, building के साथ बच्चे trees में, we used to hang around. One mother will call and but 10 children will jump down from the trees. We were only playing in the trees, robber and police and things like that. So as you go on, the times are changing, right? So let's look at on the left, 3 to 6. We're talking of government schools. When we talk of Anganwadis and Balwadis, literally Angan mein school banate the. So when they are talking about 5+3, they're bringing all this. Maybe they will recognize Anganwadis as schools and they'll be connected to government schools and everything else will go on. Here we are integrating it from 3 to 8. Now the main Anganwadis, when it's not the kind of KGs that we have. Hamara KG mein to we start regular classes. I hope there are principals and some of you who are playing in the mud. Very important, Savita Sharma, absolutely. You know, I'm asked sometimes, I'm also a content developer. I also write books for publishers. I do workshop in school. I am shocked when teachers tell me कि LKG में 1 to 100 number names लिखते हैं. Numbers, number names, 1 to 100. Oh my God. Why do you have to get, my grandson is in the UKG and they are just starting to read. My daughter's mother-in-law is so worried ki, you know, these children haven't started reading. They read, they know so much, they think so much. My grandson knows so much about the corona, then he knows he can read. Sabke liye ek waqt hai na? I mean, number names 1 to 100 in LKG, 3-year-old, no hand and eye coordination, no motor development, right? Storytelling, yes, storytelling, children should be free to learn. So I'm not saying they should not learn number names, but there is a time. What a 6-year-old child can do, a 3-year-old. In the school my grandson goes to, they start writing sentences at the age of 6. So KG is not preparing for class 1. Class 1 is not preparing for class 2, right? So let's go back to the slides. They are told to learn story and write. Oh my God, they're writing paragraph. Which school is that? I'm going to come and burn that school down. No writing paragraphs. Teachers need help. I play with different shapes. Exploratory activities, Shelley, yes, of course. I'm reading out your messages. I hope you're all reading it too. Some very good ideas. Children should learn to be thankful and feel sorry first. Yeah, Monica, that sounds like, let's not start putting children in a place of blame and shame, right? We don't want this blame and shame. Let children own their mistakes. We have to point out their mistakes, but ECCE stage is not the stage for blame and shame. Please remember that. आपने ये किया, आपने सुसु किया, आपने ये किया, आपने वो किया. This blame and shame, they will carry throughout their lives, teachers. Very important. So rote learning, formal school teaching. Now, this is important. Ki Anganwadi and Balwadis are now under the WCD, which is the Women and Child Development Ministry. And now it has come under the MHRD, which is the human resource. That should be called, in fact, MHRD is now going to be called Education Ministry. So on the right, you can see what's happening now. Anganwadi's preschools to be linked to primary schools. So hamare KGs to aise hi chalega. There's nothing to worry about. So what will hamara kya hoga? Kuch nahi hoga. Right. Can we have the next slide, please? Teachers are bound to cover. Yes, teachers are bound to cover syllabus. So we are going to syllabus. The curriculum is going to be cut down a lot. It's going to be cut down a lot. The key features. I am not too fond of these slides. It's just that some words in the NEP, universalization, equity, quality. Yeah, I mean, let's go to the next slide. I wanted to delete this slide. It's not relevant to us. Next slide, please, Jitin. Tracing activity. Jitin, are you there? Jitin to so gaya. Yeah, information, attractive. Let the little ones. I'm reading you as I'm going along. Jitin? All right. Yeah, nutrition. So ECCE, focus of ECCE. We are now going into what NEP is saying. Nutrition for all children to include breakfast. We are aware of midday scheme, and Tamil Nadu was one of the early ones which started the midday meal scheme. So bachcho to school aate hain. Bachcho to 1 minute, guys. Someone is turning the TV on in my house and I have to just switch it. Mommy, I'm sorry, ye hota hai webinars mein. Ma, 1 minute. Guys, just give. I'm back, guys. Sorry. ऐसे भी होता है, I guess. My mother is with me. She's 88 years old, and I told her ki she just didn't understand, and she's just turning the TV on around here. So I had to go and switch it off. That's okay. So let's be natural. I'm working from home, so ऐसे भी होता है. Right. So ECCE, nutrition for all children. I was telling you about Tamil Nadu, where we have this midday meal. Now in Tamil Nadu, which I'm sure is happening in other states also, since children are not going to schools and there is no midday meal scheme, eggs and rations are being taken to the homes of children. So they're trying to do things like that. Methodology and content of the curriculum will be different. Goals of achieving fundamental literacy, we've talked about this. Methodology of teaching and learning at preschool segment will extend up to grade 2, which is again playway. Next slide, please. Which is again playway and everything. Teacher to student ratio to us is looking at 1:25, not to exceed 1:30. I think in most of our schools, I used to do workshop in schools where, there used to be 40, 50 kids. But now I think most schools has come down to about 20, 30. There may be other schools where thoda sa numbers zyada hoga, but even the government is aiming at, if you go to government schools, I work with government schools also, you will have 50, 60 children in a class. I was an English teacher. Oh, you still have 55. You still have 55. I used to have 55 kids in my class. I was an English teacher in a school. Right, I guess things will change. 60, someone is telling me 60, bapre. Teacher, my class, 65 children. Oh, that's very sad. 1:49, 1:50. Things will change. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Things will change. And things cannot change in a hurry. My grandson goes to a school which is not really A+ kind of a school, but I like these schools where they are normal, good schools, but they think creatively. Think creatively. You don't need to go to a posh Birla or a Tata kind of a Rambani school. You can do creatively. There are only about 20, 25 kids in my grandson's class. Parents, especially for children 2 to 6, may access training to help support. This is a wonderful initiative. You can enroll parents. So don't look at parents as enemies. Look at parents as support. Take feedback from parents. I tell people that online classes, jab online classes karte hain, I tell people, ma'am, parents baithte hain, comment karte hain. No, take the feedback of parents and say, what can I do? Listen to parents. Preparatory programs for children who have not been able to access education earlier than, fine. So let's go on to the other more important slides. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. Let's just look at the crucial important thing here is flexible multi-level play-based activity. age 3 to 8, which is our ECCE stage, flexible, multi-level, activity-based approach. Through observation, inculcation of healthy habits, positive socialization. Implication for schools. Private schools have well-equipped early childhood units, however, but curriculum has become an overload. I'm glad that this is being looked into. जहाँ LKG में 1 to 100 number names लिखते हैं, ये जैसे school उनके पीछे जाना है. You have to make sure that this nonsense doesn't happen. This, and schools say कि ma'am, parents want. They say in that school the child is learning, someone wants to know my number. Right. I'm reading your messages, Georgina, I'm reading your messages. Right. So there won't be government interference with the way things are going on in private schools because we are fine. But this is a very important point that the government is pointing out, that in our schools, in private schools, jahan hum jaate hain, hamara bachchon ko bechte hain, the curriculum is an overload. Curriculum is an overload, right? There are schools which do 3-language formula. CBSE schools follow 3-language, but how you go about it? Now, when you're learning to read, there are so many different ways. Phonics, jolly phonics. You can get children to read, but this nonsense of writing number names 1 to 100. And I am told that by UKG, they write full sentences and answers kyunki class 1 mein likhna hai. Class 1 mein, why should you be able to write 1 or 2 sentences? Are you training your children for NEET and G or for IELTS or IELTS? Or there's absolutely no need. So private schools, there is a curriculum overload that will be, whether parents are pressurizing or a school wants to show ki hum kitna, quantity does not make up for quality. Quantity does not make up for quality. Ye jo bacha is struggling at 3 years to write number names 1 to 100, he will write 1 to 1000 when he is 6 years old or 7 years old. Children suffer mentally and physically when school fellow from the usual pedagogy. A large number of early learners end up with psychological problems. That also we know. Blame and shame, look at you, kya marks liye, and this pressure starts from the lower classes. Right, can we go on to the next line, next slide, please? 9 to 11, ages 9 to 11 will cover classes 3 to 5. I'm just doing the next stage so we know what the next stage. So in the next stage, a structured subject-wise curriculum will be laid down, strong academic foundation. Only now we are beginning to hear academic foundation, meaning you start hearing subjects like science and maths and EVS. Nahi to everything is integrated. Everything is going to be integrated till class 12. But class 3 may so-called formal schooling starts. So till class 2, this is wonderful, teachers. ECCE is wonderful. If we can cut down our numbers, cut down the overload, focus on the curriculum, which the slides are coming up, we will talk about it. Yeah, can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so I'm just reading to you. There are just about maybe another 10 slides. I'm also keeping track of time. What is the time? Right, we've got another half an hour more. Education is the basic ingredient for achieving full potential, right? And this foundation of this full potential is laid in ECCE. That's why this stage is so important. There's no need for you to write number names and count and do subtraction. And as long as you understand the concepts of math, India possesses, this is a very important point, India possesses the highest number of young people entering school by the next decade. In another 10 years, India will have the most number of children going to schools in the world. The future of the country depends on this. Children should learn how to learn and not just what they learn. Less content, more critical thinking and problem solving, less content. So which is why the content, if there is curriculum, if there's going to be content, please stick to the low content. You have to dig deep, go sideways, because there's so much of art, and I'll show you what we are going to do in schools. Focus on the rich heritage of the country. This is also a very important point on the rich heritage. art, craft, stories. Jitna hum, we learn about, you know, it's so important. If I'm a writer, I do ELT books. I always bring in, you know, Sheikh Chili and Nazaruddin, Mullah Nazaruddin stories and Tenali Rama, and all these stories are so important. Indian writers, Indian poets, Indian culture. But I don't believe in ye jhanda leke mera Bharat Mahan attitude nahi hai ye. It's building a certain national identity. That is very important. Yeah, next slide, please. Right. Broad objectives. These two slides are very important. What is coming up? What happened to my slide? Why have you gone to a certificate? Jitin? Okay. Kya ho raha hai wahan aaj? Something is going wrong at the tech end. All right. Broad objectives. This is important. Please focus. Ensure every child is valued, respected. Yes, I have taken from the NEP. I have taken all this from the NEP. Ensure that every child is valued, respected, feels sure and secure, and develops a positive self-concept, right? And all these words, I want you to notice, आपने जो पहले जब हम ये activity की, आपने ये सब बोला. You gave it all to me, so you already know. I am just kind of formatting it. Enable a sound foundation for physical motor development of each child. Imbibe good nutrition routines, health habits, hygiene practices, and self-help skills. So I'd be happy if your children know how to tie shoelace. Aajkal to koi shoelace nahi pehanta, everything is Velcro. If children can pack their own school bags, if they can take care of their stuff, if they can button their shirts, if they know how to handle gadgets, self-help, if they can open their tiffin box, eat, put things away, wash. I mean, these things are so important. Enable children for effective communication and foster both receptive and expressive language. Receptive, how to receive and how to speak, communication skill. Promote development and integration of the senses, using all the senses. We talk of sensory. Those of you who deal with the ECCE, you know much more than I do. You are all specialists in it. Stimulate curiosity and develop an understanding of the world. So these are some of explore and investigate and experiment. So I think it's very important that you guys get these slides. Please get this PPT from Goel. No need for you to take these things down.
Yeah, we'll share PPT with them, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very important, Jitin. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, enhanced development. See, this is basically your curriculum. This is basically the curriculum of ECCE. So what did we talk about? Communication, holistic, health and hygiene, self-help, a total perfect understanding of themselves and things around them. Enhance social competence and emotional well-being. Develop a sense of aesthetic appreciation, stimulating creative learning. Imbibe culturally and developmentally, enable a smooth transition, overall personality development. So you go about doing your numbers and your alphabets and your numeracy, but character building, personality, competencies, character traits, this is what you're going to focus on. And how do we focus on all this? You had already told me through storytelling, through activities. Yes, someone is asking, Kavita is asking, yes, the PPT will reach you. The PPT will reach you. Goel Brothers has...
We'll send everybody email.
Yeah. Yeah, can I have the next slide, please? Right. Now, this is your ECCE curriculum. Look at the wonderful curriculum. If I had this curriculum, itra headache bhi nahi hota hai, and I would enjoy transacting this curriculum. This is in short the ECCE curriculum. what I have taken from different aspects of the NEP. We've talked a lot about the learning the alphabet and literacy. Now, literacy is very important, educators. We say that Kerala में 100% literacy है, but वो literacy का मतलब नहीं है कि everyone is well read. If you're able to write your name, it is considered as literacy. There are everyone in Kerala can write their name. So that's really not 100% literacy. When we say literacy, age appropriate, you should be able to read. We're talking of numeracy, counting, puzzles. Do a lot of puzzles. I know that, right, my grandson, right from 1.5, is quite good with puzzles. Lego aata hai, although hath ka, the things they do. He creates a Mercedes, he creates a Luna module, he creates all sorts of things that even mera dimag mein, I don't even understand those things. But children's creativity is on a different level. And at 65, I think I'm not that generation at all. But kids are doing these activities at home. So puzzles, word puzzles, physical puzzles, doing all this, of course, is helps you with logical thinking and colors and shapes. You're already doing all this if you are handling ECCE. Music and movements, someone had talked about this. Music and movement, humanities. Humanities means not studying through humanities as a subject, but probably here we can bring in our basically class 1, class 2 tak kya karte hain hum? We have language, we have math, we have EVS. Aur kya? Kuch nahi hai. So yahi hai. Humanities mein everything else comes. Social awareness. What we say EVS is actually social awareness. My home, my country, my this, my that, and learning about metals, basic metals, and learning about landforms, a river, a lake. Yes, sir. They are all, it comes under humanities. Games, sports, lot of emphasis on games and sports. Ab to bacche ghar mein hai. Indoor and outdoor languages. Not one. I am for learning languages, particularly at this stage, because children pick up languages very quickly. It's not just learning languages. When you learn languages, your brain gets rewired a lot. Your brain gets charged up, right? Language has this ability, language and music has this great ability to connect to create a lot of synapses in your brain. So languages and music are extremely, so don't worry too much about languages. Bache to, I don't know, my grandson is learning Tamil because we are in Chennai. He learns English, of course, and he learns Hindi and he learns Tamil. And there's no Hindi background in the house, in my daughter's house, but he just learns, and it's good for him to learn. Culture and values, character building, mental health, physical health, hygiene, and mental health. So this blame and game, this shaming a child, you cannot get anything done, marpeet or blaming or shaming a child, nothing happens. Aaj tak, I don't know any child who has learned better because he was beaten. Maar ke seekho, maarte maar, koi nahi, wo sunta nahi. Something will go, screw will go loose and kuch na kuch karega wo baad mein. This is very important, teachers. Yeah, can I have the next slide, please? All these slides are important. Right, this is basically something which is most crucial. We've talked enough about this. FLN, Foundation of Literacy and Numbers. Attaining foundational literacy, numeracy must become an urgent national mission, right? This is so important. Look at the words used by the NEP. Urgent national mission with immediate measures. Why is it a national mission? Because we know in most schools, including private schools, children cannot read to their level. Magap karke answer likhte hain, but they really can't read and they don't learn anything by themselves. Question answers they mug up, meanings opposites they mug up, math ka problems bhi they mug up, ye rote learning. So I don't think our children are really reading. So this is the importance of literacy, not just reading words. Picture should be based, yes, local cultural. I'm still reading your messages. Focusing on moral values. Yeah, oral reading, ORF, oral reading fluency, recognizing words and also being able to read sentences. Can I have the next slide, please? Jitin, can I have the next slide? Right. Social skills. We talked of social skills. I've just broken down the social skills. Someone had talked about the children should accept their blame and accept. So these, when we talk of social skills, it's not just saying hi and bye. I have broken it down for you. Self-regulating emotion. What is self-regulating? They should be able to manage their emotions, not just beating and hitting and ma'am ye kiya, मैं उसको sorry bolo, ye sorry bolo. रोज ये मारता है और sorry बोलता है. You know, things don't change. So ये मारकर sorry बोलना is really of no use because the guy doesn't change or the children don't change. Self-regulating. Keep repeating. Let them know that how to behave, how they should know what they have done wrong. You should just ask, बच्चा आपने क्या किया? क्या गलती किया? आप बोलिए. You tell me what was wrong with what you did. Ma'am, I did this. Is that right? What should you do? You should have a conversation. Disagreeing respectfully. I mean, I think we should stop watching TV, all the channels, because everyone disagrees so disrespectfully. And we have 2 or 3 channels, I don't want to use names, who just shout and shout and shout. And these are wrong examples we are giving our children. Children should not watch this nonsense. We adults must be role models. हम क्या role models है? When we say, आप चुप रहिए वहाँ, आप क्या बोल रहे हैं? The nation wants to know. Nonsense. Don't expose children. Don't speak like that. Don't do that. Children are watching you. Children are, someone says that Hindi mein bhi boliye. Hindi mein try kar raha hu main. I'm really not very fluent. You know, Hindi language though, when you don't speak, you forget about it. Disagreeing respectfully. You should be able to say, I don't like that. Please stop it. Someone pinches you, please don't pinch me, I don't like it. Can I have this? English, this is where language comes in. This is where Hindi comes in. मैं एक सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ. Instead of saying, ma'am, let the child say, ma'am, एक सवाल पूछनी है मुझे. And let the child say in English, can I ask a question, please? Can I have your pencil, please? Can I help you? What would you like me to do? So this is where language comes in, to work on social skills, to work on communication. Positive self-talk. Positive self-talk, very important. A child, I know, let's not hug children and let's not pamper children. Let's not blame and shame them. Children should grow into confident humans. Reading social cues. What's reading social cues? They should know what they should do. Someone is looking at them, ma'am is looking, I'm sorry that, you know, adjusting yourself, you may kuch galti ki yahan. Social cues is looking around and knowing how to behave where. बाहर जाऊं तो ऐसे behave करो, घर में बैठे तो ऐसे करूं. So घर का behavior और बाहर का behavior should be the same, right? You know, in terms of respect. Sharing, showing empathy. Empathy is a very important word, teachers. Empathy is feeling concern about someone, understanding someone. वो आजकल जो टीवी में हो रहा है is absolutely lack of empathy. Half the country wants to kill Ria, half the country wants to kill someone. This is not the way we solve our problems. Expressing feelings. Expressing feelings. I can't just say, just shut up and get out. I can say, I'm very upset. Can we stop this conversation, please? My grandson says that he's 5 and he tells his mother, I think that's enough for today. You have scolded me enough number of times. He tells his mother that. And his mother says, I'm sorry, I have to repeat because you are not listening. I have to keep reminding you. And then he says, you can remind me. You don't need to use names. So this is how they speak. they are confident and they are not rude. Apologizing, staying calm in time, please, all these are very important. Work on each of these, respecting personal space, following directions, personal space, classmate, this is my place, these are my things. You know, and this, अब बच्चे तो बच्चे हैं, जाने दो, boys will be boys, ऐसे ही करेंगे, no nonsense, don't accept that. ये हमारा phone है, ये मेरा phone है, don't touch it. That's it. So children take the phone, एक बच्चा है ना, लेने दो, किसी का घर जाता है, एक मग लेता है, ये मग नीचे डाल के टूटेगा, and then बच्चा है ना, ऐसे ही है, बच्चे तो can be taught. So you have 5 years to teach बच्चे तमीज, and that's very important. आज नहीं सीखेंगे तो they will not learn it later. Right, so I've broken this down for you so that there's so much we can focus on. Can I have the next slide, please? A happy child. We talk of a happy child. What is a happy child? Healthy, happy and healthy, inquiring, asking questions, a confident child. This is so much of curriculum for you to cover. How are you going to get all this done? You get all this done through role play, through storytelling, through the activities that you do. Creative, open-minded, resilient. I admire the way children are sitting at home in the COVID time. All of us are stressed. हमारे building में तो at a glance 50 children will be playing down. आजकल तो एक ही बच्चा बाहर नहीं है. When I ask, they say, yeah, auntie, we know na auntie, वो COVID है ना, so we'll have to be until the lockdown is lifted. I think children are resilient. They are able to face things, mindful and be a lifelong learner. So there's so much. Most of these words I have taken from NEP. I had to look and interpret, but these are all very important. Can I have the next slide, please? This is a very important thing. I created this slide, ECCE. NEP talks about ethics. When we say ethics, it's not just moral values. Ethics is not just doing good and avoiding evil. You will go to heaven, you will go to hell. Children also have ethical rights. You have to imagine that children have ethical rights. A child has a right to participation. A child has a right to human worth and dignity. We have no right to shame a child and to treat a child badly. This child is like that. ये बच्चा आप TC देना है इस बच्चे को. You tell them parents नहीं वो घर में बैठने दो, and this guy is a nuisance. So why do you come to school? You know, we are hurting the dignity and the worth of the child. If you cannot handle the child, it's your problem, not the child's problem. Serious problems है तो recommend a counselor. So a child has a right to living and well-being, right to physical, emotional, and mental safety. We talk about child abuse, not just sexual and physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse. Ignoring a child is mental abuse. जब हम abuse बोलते हैं, we only talk of इतना मारा. It's not just इतना मारपीट. It's not just sexual abuse, physical abuse, ignoring a child, emotional, mental, right to social justice, right to opportunity. RTE, now when we talk of all schools have the same kind of KG, you will have a lot more of children from underprivileged classes coming to our private schools. And please welcome that. It's their right. It will be difficult, but it is their right. Okay, so life is not about the survival of the fittest. This is not the jungle. Respect to elders, Anandi, respect to elders. Elders must be worthy of respect. ठीक है ना? Respect elders. Children should obey elders. Children should respect elders. Yes, but let us be worthy. We should not demand respect. We should love children, and children should show respect. We should be worthy of respect. Right, so it's not the survival of the fittest. It is about inherent ability to change the world, right? So these are all just not phrases. Please keep these things in mind when we train our children. Can I have the next slide, please? Can I go back to the earlier slide? Right, can I go back to the next slide? Yes, all right. So I just have, I think we're almost wrapping up. I have a few slides. We've just got about 10 minutes. This and a couple of other things I just want to share, and we'll just wind up. What happened to my slide? We should command respect. Jitin, I lost my slide.
Yes, yes, I'm working on it.
Yeah, sure. CBSE has to release, teacher must be role model, yes. Someone is already thanking me. अब तक नहीं गई और 10 मिनट बाकी है. Picture अभी बाकी है. Okay. So let Jitin get that. Let me read out. I think I have it on my phone. So I'm just picking out that slide that I wanted to share with you. So let me just wind up as we are. Okay. Can you expand it full screen? Okay, take your time. So let me just recap. So we talked of ECCE, 5 years, right? Can I have it full screen, Jitin? It's not full screen.
Is it visible now?
So it's not full screen. 1 second. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's visible now. Right. So this is a request. It's a lovely little poem. I wouldn't coax the plant if I were you. You know, I hate this. When I was a teacher trainee about 40 years back, my principal told me the teacher is a potter, like a potter who handles clay. And even then I hated that comparison, because when I'm a potter and I'm making a clay, a pot, I'm making it in my vision. I'm making it in my vision. I'm making this child the way I want the child to be, right? Have we seen a plant grow? Like I have a couple of things growing behind me. They take their own shape. So I wouldn't coax a plant. Ye thoda sa poem hai ye. I wouldn't coax the plant if I were you. Such watchful nurturing may do it harm. Let the soil rest and wait until it's dry before you water it. You know, when we are planting something, kya karte hain hum? You know, we can't keep digging it to see ki kya ho raha hai ye, is it growing well, is it fine? Why is this leaf going like this? Ye branch aise kyun cha raha hai? We want to twist it to according to our. So that's a very wrong thing to do, because kids have their own way of growing. The leaf is inclined to find its own direction. Give it a chance to seek its sunlight for itself. Much growth is stunted by too careful prodding, too much eagerness. The things we love, we must learn to leave, right? Yeah, can you go to those 3-4 pictures? Those,
Yes.
yeah, I'll quickly wrap up with that. Yeah, so what that was about is leave children be. Let's not try to turn them and twist them. Let's not be too eager to get them to grow in a certain way that we want, right? I'm just waiting for a couple of more slides, but if I can't, I'll just read it out from here. So.
Just a minute, ma'am. I'm working.
Sure. Okay, I'm just reading something I have in my phone here. Play is a very important aspect of ECCE. Yeah, okay, thank you, Jitin. I'm sorry, I'm harassing you, Jitin, today. आपके पीछे भाग रही हूँ मैं.
No problem.
Yeah, because I get a little, you know, everyone is just, it's close to time. So I'm reading this from my phone, and I have lots of, I keep gathering these information on my phone. And this says, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. right? For children, play is serious learning. Now, let's look at this slide. Okay, they're going one after the other. I want to read it. Jitin? Okay, is it going to stop here? Okay. Fine, look at the advantage of play. Can you read that? So what is play? Play is exploring, talking, thinking, trying, imagining, daydreaming, inventing, risk-taking, pausing, running, skipping, jumping, role-playing, negotiating, caring, counting, measuring, trying things out, right? All these, I hope they can WhatsApp send it to you. But look at it's not just physical play, it's daydreaming, inventing, risk-taking. So many of the character traits can be seen. I think one of the biggest role models we have in the country is Dhoni, and he is a cricket player. I think children will learn much more from Dhoni than any political leader in the world today, right? The way he leads, the qualities he has, the humility, the placing people out there, the bringing the people together. You know, he's a wonderful guy. In my opinion, one of the best role models that anyone can have in this generation. Yeah, can I see the others? Can I see the other slide about the play? Okay, this is very important. Structure is very important for children. Children thrive on solid structure. You have to have structure and routine. It's very important. It is the norm which, and the routine and good structure can cut down major meltdowns and angry lash outs. So if you want to handle bad behavior in class, a good way is to have very clear structures and routine. Today we are going to do this, that's it. Right, Jitin, I think let's just go to the poem. I'll just go to the poem and we'll wind up.
All right.
Yeah, so because I just want to have a little couple of minutes just to recap. We just go to that poem. So you can see the Buddha behind me. My house is full of Buddhas. I love Buddha because I meditate a lot, right? So this is a lovely poem. We'll finish with this. So those of you who are thanking me and running away, don't run. Hang out for a couple of minutes. We are just winding up in a couple of minutes, right? So this is a lovely poem that don't rush the children. Don't rush them. It's not like they're going to do NEET. At age 3, they're not going to do NEET and JEE and become doctors and engineers. Actually, not many kids want to do that either. There's so many things that by the time these kids go to the workforce, all the jobs we have now will not be there. So don't rush the wild little ramblers, wander dawdlers and dreamers. Okay. Don't rush the little wild ramblers, wanderers, dawdlers, and dreamers. Don't push or compare the child who tarries and turns over every pebble. There are some children who like to go back and pick up stones and who like to look at this and don't waste your time. Look at the board. Don't waste time. Why are you wasting your time looking at nature? So there are kids like this who want to pick up stones on the road and they tell you such lovely stories about it. So don't push them. Don't push those kids who stop to fill their pockets. Don't push those kids who stop to talk to trees and look at a shimmering chrysalis under milkweed. There are children who want to look at birds and we think they are dawdlers. We think they are wasting their time. We want to push them to do something more constructive. Don't push the kids who listen to the wind, current and message of the spiral shell. They go to the beach, they collect shells. Don't rush them, for they will grow up to the world. They will become notifiers and connectors and guardians. Their pace, can we push that up a little, please? Their pace will carry a certain peace back and give rest to the world. Not everyone has to rush around. It's a lovely poem. I wish I could spend more time on it. The whole poem is about don't rush children who look at the trees. Don't rush children who pick up stones and pebbles. Don't rush children who pick up shells on the beach. Don't rush children who are looking at the wind. because these are the people who are going to bring back rest to the world, right? So we are, can I have my face back for a minute? Okay, I got my face back. So thank you. I've been also looking at your feedback. I've been getting good feedback. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Jitin. Sorry that I had to go after you today. I thought you disappeared from your post. And thank you, Maitreyi. Maitreyi wasn't.
Thank you,
problem.
ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you, ma'am. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot for such an enlightening and a wonderful session. This was our first NEP program, and I'm glad it was wonderful. And I see wonderful comments coming here from all our participants on the YouTube channel and even in Zoom here. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot. Thank you to all our participants who are with us on YouTube and Zoom. Thank you, Jitin, for handling the webinar. Thanks a lot. We look forward to see you all once again. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Maitreyi. Thank you, Jitin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye.